to our special guests.
Thank you.
We do it for Larry. President Trump is heading to Texas, where he's going to defend his economic agenda in the latest stop on his nationwide tour ahead of the midterms. Now, the president is going to focus on energy and give a speech at the port of Corpus Christi. It's a major hub for American oil and gas exports. Administration says energy dominance is the key to fixing cost of living issues. Vice President J.D. Vance is telling voters that America will only get more affordable.
The average American family has gained about $1,400 under the Trump administration just in about a year and a month. Now, that's something we're very proud of, but we think every single day that still means that compared to when Biden took over, those Americans are still running behind. They're still catching up. So I think what we have to do every single day is come up with ideas for how to make the American people's lives better, and that's what we're doing. Some of this is the policies that we've already put in place take a little bit of time to work their way through the system.
And the administration has stressed, Griff, that energy is at the core of its model for bringing prices down since day one, because it's not just price at the pump, what you're paying for gasoline or what a shipper is paying to transport products around. I think about the milk container having plastic in it, using energy to make that. Energy just brought prices of everything up. On the way down now, but not exactly where we need to be. Little tension in the Middle East bringing those oil prices up. We could be doing more with natural gas. You've got some blue state regulations that are kind of conflicting with what the administration wants to do. Long term, how do they get this to work?
Well, let's just talk about the president's speech today, because nothing says I'm going to bring prices down through energy like standing in front of an oil tanker being offloaded. And that's what we're going to see in Corpus Christi. But I will say this, you know, just a little while ago this morning, I saw a Washington Post poll came out that said that 53% of Americans say that the American dream is out of reach. And that's not new. That's kind of been tracking for about a year. We've heard that over and over again. And so when you look deeper in the poll, it said that 71% said, hey, I can afford gas, but 73% said, I can't afford the new car. And that's what Americans are feeling. That's why they're not feeling it there. I think when the president went and gave that economic tour that he started in January, where he went to Iowa, Clive, Iowa, and stood with the giant banner, Jackie, that said, lower prices, bigger paycheck. Now, you guys talk finances every day. You understand it better than a layman like me. I consider myself just an American out there that's feeling it, can't understand why. But when I see that, I get the message. Exactly. Get those prices down, bring the paychecks up. I watched Maria this morning, and I thought it was interesting when the IMF Monetary Fund director was saying that we don't know what the problem is because the U.S. is the productivity leader in the world, and strength, you know, a strong economy is rooted in productivity. And so it's fascinating to hear how someone like the IMF director believes things are going, and the projection that things are going to get better in 2026, even more so than 2025. So it's going to be fascinating to see what the president has to say today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and there's so many smart aspects of it. But one of the aspects of the last year is that affordability, at least to me, didn't just become an issue, but now it seems to have just become an issue to voters. When Joe Biden hiked inflation up to 9%, Brian, where were they to say that the American dream is out of reach for me?
I know.
You know, I mean, what? Because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were in the White House, and ideologically they wanted to spend money on green energy initiatives. Somehow that made it okay to step away from the American dream? I don't know.
Are you kind of over, like, the whole messaging battle on the economy? I'm just kind of over this. Like, it's affordability, but it's not affordability when I'm not in office, but it is when I am in office, or vice versa. And it's like...
Because you have a secure job. You don't have to run for re-election.
Yeah, but... well, that's true. I'm not running for election for anything. But I just don't think... I like the president going to Texas. I like him going to Iowa. I like him going to Georgia. I like J.D. Vance going to Wisconsin. I like all that stuff. I think it's good for people to be out among real human beings in the world. So I affirm all that. But I just think every narrative slapped on what's happening right now is often motivated to divide, okay? I don't think Democrats are talking about affordability ever because they actually care about it. They just want to divide. I don't think, personally, the whole K-shaped economy thing, which we talk about constantly, I also think that's mostly the invention of people who want to divide. I'm not saying that there aren't people who are worse off and better off. But what I'm saying is they want to categorize people into places and say you're stuck there and politics is your only way out.
He just went after your K-shape, Taylor.
And no, Taylor knows this. I don't like K-shape because I believe in human agency. And I think when you tell people you're in the bottom part of the K, when a politician says that, they're saying it because they want you to think you're stuck there unless somebody gets you out. J.D. Vance yesterday in Wisconsin said something really important. He said, and I'm paraphrasing because I wrote it down yesterday. I don't have it in front of me, but he said, we want you to live the American dream, but we cannot hand it to you. He said, we cannot hand it to you, okay? That's super important because most politicians out there, and a lot of them on the right and all of them on the left, want to be in the position to hand you something, okay? Life does not work that way. So we need good policy out of the administration. Show people the money, okay? But don't get caught in the narrative of the moment because it's so much more political than economic.
Okay, can I make a point here on the K-shape, Taylor, and then I'm going to bring it to you. I hear you on the polarization and the narrative that's out there, but there has been a tremendous wealth effect in the stock market, in Bitcoin, and in certain assets where all of a sudden people were just like
went a couple different
flush
ways.
with cash, right? And that is demonstrative of a K-shaped economy where people who are invested feel that way and other people don't. The Trump administration coming out not only with the baby accounts, but also the retirement announcement at the State of the Union is trying to level the playing field. And those are work-based with the sense of, yes, you get the initial investment, but you can match, your employer can match if you work hard, to J.D. Vance's point. So maybe that does get people, it's going to take time, but feeling better about things.
Yeah, we talked about it Wednesday, and I agree that 401k retirement idea is one of the best announcements. I like that it is a backdoor way of potentially long run reducing our reliance on Social Security and getting people to feel like retirement is something that they can be excited about and not scared about, and to get people more invested in the capital markets rather than a bond that's going nowhere in Social Security. So I like all of those ideas. About the K-shaped economy, Brian, I'm with you on that. Unfortunately, the K-shaped economy has always existed. It existed 100 years ago. It existed today. J.D. Vance is actually the perfect person to talk about the K-shaped economy because he is a product of it. He started low, dug himself out, and look at him now. That is the American dream of something that you can do, getting off welfare and achieving whatever you want. Those are great anecdotes. I'll bring it back, and I know I don't like these sort of one-off data points because I could talk about it to the upside and to the bad side. We talked about to the upside earlier, the construction data, the Chicago manufacturing PMI data. But I get a little worried about PPI this morning. There showed a little bit of signs of more cost pressures in there. The only reason it was better than expected is because they subtracted high margins out of some business. It gets really wonky and complicated. If you don't do that, you still see price pressures in there. Atlanta Fed GDP's at 3%. 3 is better than 2. 3 is better than 1.8. But it's not the 4, the 5 that gets me really, really excited. So I think
not 15. It's not 15.
It's not 15 over 4 or 5 years. So I'm not saying that they shouldn't be messaging, Brian, to your point, but I like the real policy stuff. And I agree with Griff. We're not quite seeing like this super, super excitement. And I am struggling to get really excited about not tariff refunds, tax refunds. I don't know. We need a little more.
Can I just ask a quick question of you? Because like I had to literally come on the show to like make sure I understood the K-shaped economy, and obviously it's been around for a while. But you were talking about data. When you hear economists, as I was reading today, saying that the narrative of the K-shaped economy has outrun the data that supports it, what do they mean?
Well, I'll answer and then tell me if you agree or not. That I think economists talk about the K-shaped economy, even though the data right now maybe doesn't support it. If you've talked about real wages or Trump 1.0, where lower or middle class incomes rose faster than inflation, and those were the groups that were helped the most by his policies, is that what they're talking about? Dagan?
Yeah.
You could weigh in if you disagree.
It simply means that the data doesn't back up that narrative. The data is not right now backing up this K-shaped economy, because at the end, particularly at the end of the first Trump administration, that the wages for rank and file workers were wildly outpacing that of their managers and management workers. And the policies that the president has put in place are beginning to bear fruit in a similar situation. And the president doesn't believe in like haves and have-nots. He wants everybody to have. Though it's interesting, like given what's happened in the market. So the S&P, the broad market, on track for a monthly loss. Treasuries are having their best month in a year. The 10-year yield below 4%, we talked about that. It's kind of astonishing. You got mortgage rates below 6% for the first time in 3.5 years. That, even though, and so credits, corporate credit spreads are widening out today. So in the short run, this is terrific for working Americans who want to buy a house, potentially refinancing their mortgage, lowering their monthly payment. But what is happening is it's not money going out of stocks and into treasuries. It's money going out of corporate credit and high yield credit into treasuries. And a lot of the panic has been coming out of these private credit firms. It started last year. We were talking about it, the likes of Blue Owl with the blow-ups of Tricolor and First Brands. There's another blow-up. There have been some issues with like no redemptions, cutting off investors, like you can't take, you're not going to be able to take your money out of these private credit funds. Market Financial Solutions, that's overseas. Again, problems with this private credit area. So this is an area of concern. Right now, it wouldn't bleed over to the broad economy. But if you have private credit companies that have to refinance and can't actually function or exist at refinancing at an 8% or a 9% rate, you are talking about the cascading effects of layoffs and bankruptcies. That ultimately, that's why you see this washout, not only in private credit firms, but the markets. It is not about AI today, and it is not about inflation. It is about the credit of risky credits and default risk rising.